All right, I know the timer doesn't quite indicate that we're there yet, but I lost track of time. Started a little late. Hello. It is about that time. Uh, my head has been all over the place the past 2 days. It kind of sucks. I've got a little bit of that like free floating feeling, sort of bouncing around. The pressure in my head is really off. Like yesterday, I was making dinner, right? I was frying up some burgers, and all of a sudden, I like turned to the left, just to sort of lean on the counter, to walk over to the counter and lean on it, and like I felt like a weird shift in pressure in my head. Like all of a sudden, there was no more weight, like in my head. Like all of a sudden, my head was weightless, and it threw me for such a loop. Uh, Very wacky stuff. But I'm back. I don't know. I don't know what's been going on. I feel like I've only been less consistent with time when I'm streaming and stuff. I think I need to be better at like psychosomatically convincing myself or whatever that there's not all the pressure or whatever to go on stream and be this personality or whatever. I should just be me, and that would be all well and good, I think. Not try to play things up too much. Hey, what's up, Flat Earth Dennis? Welcome back to chat. I'm hoping to kind of keep my stream schedule more or less steady. I'm gonna stream today, and then I'll probably do a short stream tomorrow. Uh, and then I can't stream Thursday because I'm going to the food bank. But then I'll be back on Friday. Try to do something like that. Well, obviously we know on this channel what my schedule is worth, which is to say, not a whole lot, because a lot of times I'll experience really wacky motivation dips. Dude, a subscription? Thank you for the subscription, Flat Earth Dennis. You now have access to the tier 1 sub emotes. In retrospect, I really should have just made all of the sub emotes available at tier 1. Wait, no, I did. I think I did. I don't know, dude. Either way, you have the fun emotes now. You sit in your chat for all day, might as well subscribe. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you found it worth the trouble. We got these two fellas here. How much going on? Oh, they're both using carts? That's kind of wild. If they're both using carts, I might want to switch to a cart as well, just to join into the spirit of the game here. Emote? Yeah, that's right. That's a that the rotating cockroach thing is very funny to me. There's even a I think there's a custom message when somebody like donates money or whatever, which is not an invitation to donate money. I don't think I want to become that streamer that pressures people to do that. That's pretty cringe. But it's the cockroach guy, and he's got the Darth Maul lightsaber, and he's turning around, and the audio just says number 12 cock. I mean, I really had a field day on Streamlabs when I was picking those out. Like, hey, want it to be funny. So all of the like notification sounds for follow and subscribe and donate and whatever are like some random meme shit. But anywho. Ugh. I hope 1v3 shows up. I watched that that episode of that Dutch talk show. I mentioned this last stream. I watched that off stream because I can't react to it on stream. I don't want to get nuked for copyright. stuff. But I thought it was interesting, and I had some thoughts on it. But you know, I feel like the only people who would really watch a Dutch political talk show in Dutch would be Dutch people, or like Dutch speaking people. So like, you know, if you live in the Netherlands or if you live in Flanders in Belgium and you speak Dutch, that's probably the context in which you would watch that. So I feel like it would be lost on me and anybody that's not from the Netherlands if I just talked about it in a vacuum. Anyways, I do have other stuff though. Like, let's see. Oh yeah, some really funny shit has been happening over at the New York Times. And by funny, I mean, like, self-implicating. So, I have many problems with American journalism. You know, many such cases. I'm gonna switch to Dragon Knight, and I'm gonna use, use a cart. Gonna go visit the Parliament on March 1st. So what should I say to the KGB agents there? You should tell the Lithuanian intelligence that their greatest asset is doing God's work over in America. Here, hold on. What is the Lithuanian Intelligence Agency? State Security Department of Lithuania, the SSD. Or VSD, excuse me. Okay, yeah. You should go tell the VSD that that Y2K is pulling his weight for them or something. I don't know. You should bring up whatever you want to bring up. Like if you're going to Parliament, that raises the opportunity to talk about some policy stuff. Yeah, they're both still using carts. Let's go. Putting the cart in Mario Kart, baby. Oh, I didn't quite get him. I can't drive in a cart very well. Ugh. This guy's almost undoubtedly a better carter than me. Ah, never mind. Recently, I participated in an event in my town, and the director of the SST signed a thank you to me. That's super cool. Yeah, I've learned over time, participating in local politics is really how, if you want to make, like, a direct impact, that's how you do it. You know? That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, dude. Playing with a cart on this track is actually so sick. Like diploma thingy with the signature of the director of the SST now? That's awesome. Is the SST like some town council or something? Oops. Driving with a cart is actually a lot more difficult than driving with a bike. I meant STT? Okay. Gotcha. Ooh. I need to be careful, because I only have a fake item box here, which is not going to do me that many favors. Ah, Special Investigation Council. Okay, cool, cool. Yay! This has been a demonstration of my meager karting skills in Mario Kart Wii. Thank you, thank you. Dude, if it's still just us three, I'm gonna stick with the cart. This is sick. Even though it's a little bit slower than regular Mario Kart Wii. Because, you know, you don't wheelie every 5 seconds. Oh yeah, the New York Times. They do anti-corruption shit. Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool. That's like the fucking anti-corruption league in your town. It's like, you know what? You're cool. Here's a diploma that says that the anti-corruption team says that you're cool. I love that. Where was the tweet here? Ah, yes. New York Times. Not town, it's a national organization? That's even cooler! That's like the anti-corruption police saying that, like, you're cool. The National Lithuanian Anti-Corruption Police said that you specifically are a cool dude. And that's pretty cool, honestly. How many times I said cool in that string of sentences? It's probably a lot. Yeah. You know what's interesting is that I think I've heard about in some in quite a few European countries actually that there's like specifically anti-corruption bureaus, like there are offices and agencies and whatever dedicates specifically to investigating things like corruption and stuff. But we don't have that in the US. Like the US doesn't have an anti-corruption police. We just have like police and investigators whose job it is also to do anti-corruption shit if it comes their way. Their budget's only 15 million apparently. That's pretty low, you know, even for a country as small as you know, Lithuania. Unfortunate. And but even then, that like shows. I think that shows that a lot of countries in Europe are taking the issue more seriously than America takes it. Because in America, right, like we have the FBI and we have police departments and stuff, but they don't have like specific anti-corruption. We don't have like a specific anti-corruption bureau or whatever. You know, I investigated myself for corruption and found myself innocent. That's actually how it works in the United States. In America, there is the like, what is it, the Internal Affairs Police, but that's part of the police department. So if there's ever like police corruption, they just get the other part of the police department to investigate themselves, and they find nothing wrong. And I think it's kind of a similar thing. At least I would assume it is. I'm not entirely sure. For like the FBI and the federal investigators. You're getting a lot of shells. Dude, Diddy Kong, that Diddy Kong guy is really good at carts. Ah, it's closed again. Ah. Wait, was it? Was it closed? I can't tell. Damn. The mushroom. No. Fucking. Ah! Son of a bitch. Alright. Alright. Moment of truth. No, dang. I tried. You can buy a CIA black site in Lithuania. That's interesting, I think. If it's again, I'm gonna stick to this like honor code that if it's just the three of us, I'm going to stay on a cart. Alleged CIA black site in Lithuania up for sale. Photos. That's sick. VSD is selling it. That's funny as fuck. Yeah, we have this this black site where we allegedly used to torture people and whatnot. You know, we don't really want it anymore. You can have it if you want. We're selling it. Dude, you know what would actually be turbo fucking based? Is if a local government bought this and just turned it into like affordable housing or something, and like, hey, look, if you're out of a job, take my money now. Yeah, how much is it? If like there was a government contractor or like a local government, regional government that decided like, hey, we're just gonna buy this and like turn it into public housing. Because in the United States we have this problem, and I do mean problem, like it's a proper issue where there's like unused office spaces and like office buildings and stuff that constantly like just sit there because the logic is that like, oh, you only lose money if you capitulate and you actually like sell it, right? So they just don't sell it, hoping that one day they'll like get that money back or something. What the fuck have I done here? Oh, this is so bad track design. Yeah, okay. And so like there's a significant debate about like, hey, the government should buy these or like just take them and turn it into like affordable housing for the poor. You know, which I think is a pretty cool idea. Same here, no one can afford housing. Yeah, that seems to be like an international problem right now. That like housing is just too fucking expensive. I'm just gonna chuck this. How far is that going? Oh, pretty far. Wow. We have 1.7 homeless for every 1,000 inhabitants. That's kind of a lot. That's higher, I think, than in the United States, where about 500,000 out of 300 million people are homeless. Although there's a lot more people than that are, like, insecure in their housing situation or whatever. You know? For the love of... God, this slides so much. Yeah, hi, Squeaker. Can't help you right now, sorry. Whoa, 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 what is going on? I can't control this shit. Oh my god, dude. How do people drive carts in Mario Kart? Jesus Christ, these things are so slippery. They have no handling. Okay, thank fuck it's over. We do have shelters for them here. We have shelters as well, but, like, there's a lot of problems surrounding the, like, actual usage of those shelters. In the United States, a lot of times the rules are that, like, homeless shelters are only, like, a one-night stand sort of thing. Where, like, if you're a homeless person and you actually try to live at a homeless shelter, first of all, it's basically impossible because all it is like an encampment of beds or whatever. Like, there's not actually any real, like, living provisions there. It's just a place to sleep, you know, and you can't list that really as a mailing address in America. And a lot of times, if people try to stay there longer, even, like, knowing that there's nothing for them to use there, they'll get kicked out. Like, the homeless population in the United States usually gets kicked out of homeless shelters if they try to stay there. And the like, they've, as ridiculous as it sounds, there are some ways in which even homeless shelters are means tested. Which is to say, like, if you're homeless, you can't always stay at a homeless shelter. Like, you might not always be allowed to. You know? So what happens as a result is, like, you get a lot of those homeless tent encampments. I'm sure everybody probably has seen photos of that, even if you're not super familiar with politics in America, where, like, homeless people will have their tents set up on the street because they have nowhere else to go. You know, and that's at least a more permanent solution in the like, it's at least a longer term, I should say, solution to homeless people's problems from their perspective than, like, going and staying for a couple nights at the homeless shelter and then getting kicked out or whatever, you know? But then, you know, the cops inevitably come and kick them out of the tents anyways. It's a real problem. Very real problem. And in fact, part of the reason that the homeless population in the United States is so low is because of policy failures that are so abject that, like, a lot of homeless people die. So, like, the homeless population number is kind of skewed by the fact that those are just the homeless people that are still alive. You know, a lot of other countries where the homeless population is higher, part of that is actually because it is easier to survive while homeless than it would be in the United States. It, like, you know, homelessness in other countries is somewhat more survivable than in the US. In the US, in a lot of places, winter gets really fucking bad. You know, you know, we're pretty far south as far as the global, like, lines of latitude and longitude goes. But, like, if you're homeless and you live in one of the plains, like, Great Plains states, like, good luck, buddy. And of course, as an added bonus, when people try to help the homeless by feeding them or setting up shelters or whatever, they get arrested by the cops. Recently, not super duper recently, but like a little while ago, there was a priest in Ohio who wanted to open their church to feed and house the homeless on a more permanent basis. He decided to say, like, you know what, this church is now open 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to help the homeless population. And the police came in and arrested him and shut down the church because that's against Ohio law to have a church open, I think, 24/7, or even specifically to help homeless people. Like, that's illegal. Which sucks. But anyways, that's my rant about homelessness and why it's bad and we should fix it and stuff. Average, but yeah, that's all coming from that news article about the CIA, the former CIA black site that's now being sold, that it would be mega based if it was sold and then turned into an affordable housing project. That'd be cool. Homelessness is based in red pilled. That's pretty true. That's true. You get to have the homeless guy drip the fucking giant parka, massive unkempt beard. Alright. Ah, this track. I know this track. really small room today, but it is Tuesday, so. Love how the U.S. media described it as a jail. Really? That's actually fucking extremely sus. They could at least have the decency to call it an alleged black site, right? Like, because, you know, the word alleged, like, yeah, you know, we all know it was a black site, right? But, like, you have to use the word alleged because otherwise you could be sued. That is so fitting of the United States. Your own CIA jail, Lithuania to sell secret U.S. rendition site. Oh, come on, dude. That's so fucking... Ah! They really said that? They said, like, rendition site? They invented a new fucking word? This is Reuters? Oh my god, dude. Come on. Dude, American journalism is so fucking cringe a lot of the time. CIA prisoners were held in windowless, soundproof rooms. At least they were soundproof, Lamau. Yeah, I mean, that's just solitary confinement, right? Like, and that's probably where they waterboarded everybody. Jesus. Yeah. Nicest American jail. Yeah, that's true. Squeaker, what are you doing? No, you can't do that. My cat was picking at the screen on my window, which is bad because I'm on the second floor of my house. Yeah, Squeaker, I'm sorry, but I can't help you out right now. Maybe in a little bit. Yeah, I know. I know you want to go out. Give me a couple minutes. Okay. Alright. Silly cat. Oh yeah, speaking of American journalism, New York Times. Apparently they did an interview recently with Vanity Fair or something like that. And this was posted by another journalist that I follow on Twitter, or whose news org I follow on Twitter. Evidently, in this interview, the New York Times was like, this guy who was a columnist at the New York Times and is also, or was also the DC bureau chief, so like he was the boss of their DC news office, said that, like, oh yeah, the reason that we do journalism, like that our objective when we write articles is to make our readers feel smart, which is like kind of a startling admission just to make out in the open, or not startling, but like it's a little bit surprising that they would just admit that up front, because I think that makes them look like really, really bad. You know, if you asked people what they thought, if you ask a lot of people what they think journalism should be, right? You know, it would probably involve something about, like, oh yeah, holding powerful people to account and making sure, like, corruption doesn't go unchecked, blah blah, and things like that. Makes them look honest. That is true. That much is true. You know, so in a perverse sense, I kind of respect it. You You know? It is nice to at least get the admission, like, yeah, no, we don't really care about holding powerful people to account. Our interest is in making our user base feel smart and stroking their ego, and stuff like that. You know? Which, by the way, is also the objective of certain propagandists on the right, like Tucker Carlson. This is a very extreme comparison, but there's a similar motive at play, where you know, sometimes Tucker Carlson will phrase a lot of things as these weird, like, rhetorical questions. And if you look closely, it's a little bit like he's doing the Dora the Explorer bit. Very odd stuff. But the reason that he does that is the same reason that the New York Times has admitted that they write their stuff. Or at least is for the same objective. Making the person reading or watching feel like they're smart and that they're part of what's going on and stuff like that. And I think that's a very, very dangerous model to set insofar as, like, creating political apathy and stuff. Because the New York Times, fundamentally, like, it's a pretty centrist rag, and so their predilection is to not do anything. And so if they make people feel smart for reading the newspaper and agreeing with the predilection of not doing anything, you know, that's pretty bad, I think. Yes, I know, Squeaker. Give me 1 second, okay? Squeak, squeak, come on. Go, go. Tucker Carlson's the type of guy to go fascist Italy and say at least the trains are on time. Yeah, in fact, I have a comment on that once I get back. I'm gonna let my cat outside. Yeah. At least I can open my window again. I also have a cat, and she is a demon. True. We love our little feline demons. Yeah. So about Tucker Carlson. Yes, he would say that. And I know this because he literally did this with Russia. He went to Russia and did that weird, like, fascist propaganda bit of, like, going to a Russian grocery store. And, like, God, it was so cringe. I want to adopt this wildcat so bad, but it might get my cat sick. Well, you can always take it to the vet. I know that stuff can be kind of expensive, but, like, you know, we had to take our cats to the vet when we adopted them. We've had a few cats, and it's pretty standard practice that, like, even when cats are at the shelter, you'll still need to, like, take them to the vet or whatever. So. I remember when I went to Morocco, there were so many stray cats. Amazingly, I did not get sick from any of the stray cats in Morocco. But there were a lot of them, and they were very cute. Yeah, but it probably has a lot of problems, I bet. The bill's gonna be shocking, plus you have to get all the shots, too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Sweetest and friendliest thing ever? That's cute. Hey, man, look, I mean, with stray cats, a good rule of thumb is that, like, if you say hi to it and even pet it every once in a while, it should be fine as long as you, like, wash your hands afterwards, right? You know, wash your hands good and thoroughly with soap and warm water and whatnot. You know? Oh, I hit somebody with the banana, I think. I do that anytime I go outside. It hunts me down and demands petting. Yeah, a lot of the cats, whenever there have been other people that have cats in the neighborhood, they will do that too. Cats love when humans pet them or give them attention generally. Pretty solid first place there. Hopefully that green shell didn't lose that guy behind me any positions. I just want him off my back a little bit. Okay, no, he still got second. Ooh. Yeah, you mentioned about Tucker Carlson, the fucking, like, trains running on time bit. He went to Russia, and he did that interview with Putin, which was really cringe. And I actually think it was good that he did that, because that hurts the fascist movement when you get like a fascist interviewing another fascist, but they're like really talking past each other and they can't really get the answers that they want or the questions that they want and whatever. You know, Putin sitting him down for the fucking history lecture and stuff. And then also when Tucker Carlson went and did that like propaganda footage in Russia, like at a grocery store, he was like, wow, everything's so cheap here. And like, oh my god, the grocery store has things, right? There were reports on that across the entire Lithuanian media talking shit about him, and rightly so, base Lithuanian media. It just made him look really ridiculous, and it makes fascists look pretty fucking stupid when they do that. You know, to other fascists, they could reasonably look at that propaganda stuff and agree with it, but to somebody who's not fascist, right? To somebody who is like a centrist fence sitter, or like somebody who's liberal or on the left, you look at that and you're just like, wow, this guy's a buffoon and has no idea what he's doing. And to anybody who like has any modicum of economic literacy, you would know that goods being cheap in a given country is indicative of that country lagging behind economically. I remember being in Morocco, a lot of stuff was really cheap there because Morocco is part of the global south. You know, it's just now industrializing. You know, my mom grew up there, and she actually described the technological conditions in Morocco in the 1970s as reminiscent of technological conditions in Europe in the 1870s. You know, Morocco has you know, like the sort of the lack of materiel and like and Western tech, modern tech in a lot of countries, and the like sort of lack of economic heft and what have you, is what leads to those goods being so cheap. And Tucker, like, was inadvertently sort of broadcasting that, you know? So stuff being really cheap in Russia actually goes against his point, rather than supporting it, that, like, wow, Russia is so great, you know? Obviously, in a developed country, we would prefer if goods were less expensive as well. But like in Western countries, salaries also tend to be quite a bit higher, so that like you could sometimes, you know, more or less you can afford to make up that difference. In Russia, that's not the case. A lot of people in Russia have a hard time affording the cost of living there, and that's with the prices being as low as they are. And it's the same with a lot of developing countries, in fact. Fun fact, Morocco is the first country to recognize USA. Yeah, that's right. I knew that from my college history class. And I actually, when I was in Morocco last year, I visited the historic Moroccan American embassy in Tangier. Very cool stuff. It was so weird going in. Everything is expensive here, and our wages are shit. Yeah, it's kind of the same in the United States, to be honest. Yeah, in the embassy in Tangier, it was so interesting to see, like, first of all, the historic city in Tangier is beautiful, and I love it there. But then it was also super cool to go into this building that was, connected to just the many other buildings there. Some of them houses. That like this embassy was just on a residential street somewhere. And I go inside, and all of a sudden, it's like I've walked into an American office building, like really old school office, but like, you know, you had the interior decor that's very reminiscent of like 18th century, like American historical landmarks and stuff. Um, yeah, and the reason that Morocco recognized the USA is because both Morocco and the United States fucking hated the British Empire. They really did not like the UK because the UK had actually tried to colonize Tangier, and Morocco didn't like that. They came to military conflict over this, and Morocco had been sniping, and by sniping I mean like stealing, abducting American and British sailors. So one of the first diplomatic, it all belongs to Lithuania, so neither one of them is uncolonized. That's true. Internal Lithuanian border dispute, you see. But like Morocco had been sending privateers, state-sponsored privateers, to like abduct, to impress, I guess, like to take sailors from American and British ships because both of them spoke English at the time, and still do. But like back at the time, it was a lot harder to distinguish, and they were pretty indiscriminate about it. One of the first things that the U.S. did diplomatically with Morocco is they asked, "Hey, if we sign this diplomatic treaty with you, these agreements, and like maybe give you some money or whatever, will you keep doing this to the British but spare our guys?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." Houthi strat, yeah, basically. Except they weren't like blowing up the ships or anything. They were just taking the sailors and like, congratulations, you're a Moroccan now. You work on our ships for our country. Uh, a lot of them didn't like it. It was basically slavery conditions. In fact, that's one of the funniest things about that is that that's one of the very few ways that white people at the time could be sold into chattel slavery is if you were abducted in the Mediterranean, and then like fucking 18th century Houthis got them, and then you get shipped over to America, where you're from anyways. Anyways, I feel like I got lost in the sauce there. Did I bump him off? I think I bumped him off. A mushroom. Hmm. I'm just gonna use this here. I feel like there are things more useful than a mushroom that I could have. This being one of them. Oh no, I failed the POW dodge. Okay. What, that red shell hit him? That's kind of wild. See, very, very wacky ending section, but it worked out. All right. What was I gonna... Yeah, okay, okay. I didn't really have anything else on like my text document list of things. But I have been reading. That's one thing I've been trying to do more of recently. Is like pick back up on the reading schedule. And right now I'm reading Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. It's like the Bible of capitalism, you see. And I wanted to read it to see, like, is Adam Smith actually a capitalist, or would he in the modern day be closer to a socialist? Like, I don't trust anybody who has read that book and comes away with one interpretation of the other, because the kind of people that would read Adam Smith and be like, okay, let me tell you what Adam Smith meant, are the worst fucking kinds of people. And by that I mean they're libertarians. Um, so I decided to start reading it for myself. Of course, it's horribly written because it was written in the 18th century and has some of the same uh, linguistic trappings of the U.S. Constitution. There are commas fucking everywhere, and he meanders for fucking hours trying to make a point, if he ever does make it at all. Um, but one thing that I notice, I think he's neither capitalist or socialist, and you might actually be right about that. Um, as I was reading, there's a couple things that I noticed about Adam Smith that consistently, like, gave me a pause to, like, reassess, you know, what I thought, and like what his actual leanings were. First, he describes a lot of, like, actually just plain Marxian dialectics, right? Like, I've read Luxemburg and I've read a little bit of Marx. Um, Socialism and capitalism are very new ideas. Yeah, that's pretty true. And in fact, at the time, socialism and capitalism were both part of the ideological left wing. The Actually, I don't want to get to that before I plan to, because that's like the second thing I wanted to get to here. But the first thing is that, like, he describes a lot of things that Marx would later write about. For example, the tendency of the rate of profit to fall. That's one thing. As markets reach or near total saturation, Adam Smith talks about that, because Britain, even at the time, Britain had a lot less room for economic growth than the United States did. And he also, I believe, even in the same chapter, he talks about the what was it? The principle of infinite accumulation, right? He has actually not all that much love for the business owners and the landlords. That's one thing that was well known about Adam Smith, is that he did not like landlords, but he's not all that charitable towards what he calls the masters of manufacture either, because he notes that they will complain endlessly about the caprice of workers demanding better wages, but then they will be silent when they rake in profits so insane that it, like, tanks a whole industry, you know. And he also harps on the concept that, like, you know, when businesses are getting so much profit, that necessarily drains from the wealth below them. That, like, you know, there is this gap between the wages that people are paid and the actual worth of their work. You know, so, like, eventually all of the wealth is going to be funneled to the top. These are both very Marxian concepts, and he describes the dialectically antagonistic relationship, basically the opposition between the workers as a block and the owners as a block. And he says that the state has a preference for the owners and will discourage workers unionizing where it would not discourage associations between owners. Very, like, overtly socialist and like historical materialist lines to draw. But then he goes off on the weirdest, like, disconnects where he, like, I remember this so clearly in the chapter titled "On the Profits of Stock," I think. It was either that or the chapter immediately before it about wages. Does he say it's based, though? He says that the government is cringe when it, like, enables owners to militantly crack down on workers, and that workers, you know, like it's their prerogative. He phrases things very weirdly in that respect. He makes a common mistake that I see liberals make a lot of the time, where they do they conflate what is and what ought to be, you know, where a lot of the things that he believes prescriptively he phrases as descriptives. Like, this is the way the world is, when in reality he's describing the way he thinks the world ought to be. You know. But I remember so clearly, right after he delivers that like, in my opinion, very intelligent, very materially informed argument about how, like, this distinct classes of the owners and workers always act in their class interests, and the owners, having disproportionate leverage, will always, like, act to the detriment of the workers, and they will have the upper hand in this conflict. He then, like, literally the next paragraph is him saying, nah, but it's fine though, the owners wouldn't do that because they're not meanies. I'm not even joking. It's like, it's very difficult for me to tell what Adam Smith actually believes when he's writing this, because he's all over the place. He contradicts himself at various points. He's not even consistent with his own arguments. There are times when he, like, he makes arguments only to then refute them, acting as though he never made those arguments in the first place. Just the weirdest thing, right? That's what makes me say I can't figure out if Adam Smith is a socialist or a capitalist. But then the other thing about what you were saying earlier is that, yes, you're right. At the time that he was writing, capitalism and socialism were incredibly new ideas. At least their market, the market, like, systems that those ideas would then be discussed in for centuries to come. You know, market capitalism, very new thing. Before that, you had mercantile capitalism, which was a lot more bare bones and a lot less, on paper, a lot less democratized than like modern capitalism and stuff like that. It was basically, you know, you mix feudalism and capitalism together. In the early stages, you get mercantile capitalism. And then socialism at the time was so new that, like, you would have a hard time distinguishing it from capitalism. You know. So I think another thing that sort of plays into how inconsistent, how seemingly incoherent Adam Smith is, and how much he seems to deviate from, like, analyzing things in terms of material circumstances, is that he's writing about a version of capitalism that is incredibly underdeveloped relative to what exists today. You know, nowadays, literally every single industry on Earth exists in a state of either monopoly or oligopoly, right? There is no possibility for new market entry. If that happens, if there's, like, a little startup, inevitably they get bought out by a bigger company, you know? But at the time that Adam Smith was writing, there were only a couple of really big companies, and those were the state-sponsored, like, East India companies. Yeah, that's right. The capitalism in his day was extremely underdeveloped, and that's, like, that, I think, is the reason for him saying a lot of the things that he does. And, you know, it certainly explains a lot of the inconsistencies, is because, like, he just might not have known yet. Like, they hadn't observed those kinds of effects, or at least hadn't observed them on a wide enough scale to know that these would be necessary components of capitalism. Like, he describes the tendency for monopoly at one point, but then he sort of, like, in a way, it looks like he hand waves it away, but I honestly think it's because he doesn't know what to do with it yet. Like, you know, that hasn't had enough time to materialize outside of the environment where it's explicitly rubber stamped by the state. You know, like, the British East India and Dutch East India companies were national monopolies on tea, right? And other goods coming from India, from their colonial model. But that was, like, they were state ventures from the get-go. There hadn't been a private company yet outside of the purview of direct state, like, sponsorship that had grown to that size. And that's, I think, the root of a lot of the what I'm seeing in Adam Smith's writing. And I would also like to add, as a small aside at the end, actually a not so small aside because it has happened in, I think I've read 10 chapters, and he has mentioned it in like 6 or 7 of them. Adam Smith is an autistic king, and we stand in an autistic king. Korn is his autistic, like, special interest hyperfixation. I am not joking. In situations even where it is like, I can't see how it would be relevant, he just starts talking about corn and the value of corn and how its price fluctuates on the market, how it's produced and distributed. He's your average corn enthusiast. Except actually not your average corn enthusiast, because he is autistically hyperfixated on corn and corn-related things. Let's see. Very funny. There's like, you know, I take notes as I read stuff, and there are like 6 or 7 times in my notes where I'm like, he's talking about corn. Like the first time it comes up, does he prefer Japanese or Western corn? I don't think Japanese corn had really, wait, actually, oh, I see what you're saying, haha. Western, because the Japanese, corn, yeah, those genres of corn hadn't really hit the market yet. My man's a fan of the, you know, that nice rainbow maize, corn. All different colors and stripes. You know? He's a bisexual corn enthusiast. But yeah, seriously. The first time it came up in my notes, and I was like, he's talking about corn? Like, he's been rambling about corn for 3 pages. Where is he going with this, right? That's the first time I brought it up. Second time it happens, he's talking about corn again. Third time, he's talking about corn again. Like, every single time he talks about corn, I keep noticing it's more and more of a non sequitur, and it's very funny, quite frankly. Um, yeah. Apart from the stuff that really puzzles me, though, like there's a lot of things that really confuse me in Adam Smith's writing. Who doesn't like to discuss corn with the homies? That's true. Adam Smith simply viewed the entire nation of America as his homies, with whom he would gladly discuss the virtues and different types and varieties and genres of corn. Yeah. Uh, yeah, apart from all the stuff that, like, left me really head-scratching, um, there was some very interesting bits at the beginning, and these still get, like, interspersed, though less and less often, about, like, basic market principles, and stuff like that. And that's part of how I, you know, had to remind myself, like, okay, this stuff was very new at the time that Adam Smith was talking. Um, you know, because a lot of the stuff that he talks about with respect to markets, it's illegal here, though. That sucks. But you can always use a VPN. A lot of the stuff that Adam Smith talks about in respect to markets are not necessarily capitalist. You know, those elements that he talks about with economies of scale and industrialization and material circumstances of a country driving the degree to which they can industrialize and can develop better tools and equipment for manufacture, that would be present in a market socialist setting as well. You just have to have a market in order to do that. And some of that isn't even necessarily market related either. Like, he mentions the, you know, oh, there's a lot more wealth in these countries because the material circumstances here are more beneficial or like more favorable. They have more technology at hand, like, immediately. That's not even necessarily a market thing. That's just a sort of industrialization 101. Surfshark and NordVPN are both Lithuanian? Ah, well then you're in good hands, I think. Although if that means that, like, you can't access that anyway on, like, Lithuanian VPNs, I think there are other VPNs that are, like, American stuff. +5. I'm gonna look for a different room. You can access corn, you just can't share it with the homies. Yeah. That is unfortunate. Adam Smith enjoyers such as myself are in shambles over this, you see. Yeah. Adam Smith devastated that he cannot have an enlightened discussion about corn with the homies in Lithuania. Very unfortunate. Yeah. Underdeveloped capitalism is sort of what Smith is writing about. In that respect, I think Adam Smith is very of his time. You know, like his writing, The Wealth of Nations, I don't think is actually all that valuable for today, right? There are some parts of it that are. When Adam Smith, even that early on, is able to see the class divide and the distinct class interests of the workers and the owners, I think that has value because you can indicate that, like, look, even intellectuals in the 1770s were able to see this developing. Homosexual marriage is against our constitution. That's cringe. Oh, that actually reminds me. There was another thing I wanted to talk about. We can't have fun here. Yeah, no fun allowed. It seems. Um, but with Adam Smith, what was I saying about industrialization? I think. Oh yeah, there's some stuff that is valuable in the Wealth of Nations so far, but I think ultimately a lot of the stuff that Adam Smith talks about is now outdated, or even wasn't necessarily correct in the moment, because a lot of the enterprise that he refers to is like cottage enterprise. You know, the relationship between owner and worker. Although he correctly describes the dialectic that now exists, the scale of that relationship was more that between master and journeyman, and not necessarily the one of like executive slash shareholder and like management and then the workers and all that, right? It's kind of a different dynamic, which I think leaves Adam Smith's writing very wanting for stuff, for a lot of things actually. I don't know if that upper route is faster or not. Can't read the future like Marx. Well, in some ways, he actually kind of could. But yeah, everybody can't be like as smart as Karl Marx and Rosa Luxemburg and those people. Ow, ow! Damn it, Tony Pizza. All right, I need an item box more than anything. Okay, that works. No, son of a bitch. My cat's back at the front door already. She wants to come back inside, even though she just got let out like 20 minutes ago. I'm gonna chain this, I think. Or maybe not. No, yeah, I will. I will chain it. Okay. A star and a golden. That's pretty good. Start using this here. Chain. Okay. You know that Emma Goldman is actually with Lithuanian? Emma Gold. Like. Oh, no, I don't know who that is. At first I thought Emma Vigeland. It's like, no. Wrong Emma. I did not know that. There's Tony Pizza repping it up in last. Deserved for what he did to me on lap 1. He's like an anarchist? That's cool. Love anarchism. Dang. Emma Gold. Ah, very cool. Emma Goldman was a Lithuanian-born anarchist, revolutionary, political activist, and writer. That's so cool. Yeah, I've heard of her, I think. Emigrating to the U.S. in 1885. Interesting. Attracted to anarchism after the Chicago Haymarket Affair. Oh, this is a whole thing. She became a writer and renowned lecturer in anarchist philosophy, women's rights, and social issues. Attracting crowds of thousands. Yeah, back in the day, you just had to be able to speak charismatically and like yell really loud. No internet, no phone lines even. 1880s or 90s, I guess, as well. Women speaking? I know, crazy. What a concept. She's a witch, probably. That's true. That's very true. You know, honestly, all the talk about, like, women or witches makes me think that most men are just gay. You know? Like, clearly they don't have any love for women. Oh, what? What the... My drift button is, being wacky today. Or my, control stick, I guess. Wee. Whoa, dude. All right. That was a very wacky shortcut, but it worked out. Oh, no. Don't. Please don't. I'm begging you, dude. Okay. No, 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 no. Okay, okay. I didn't fall off. That's what's important. PBS calls her a born propagandist? Well, that's fitting, given that PBS is public broadcasting. God damn, that's really funny, I think. That was very close. Very close call. Oh, this is way faster. I don't know why I was tricking the other time. Okay. Didn't really mean to do that, but that's what happens, I guess. Now I'm gonna get second, I think. Cool. What a race. She was deported to the USSR. RIP. Really? That sucks so much. Damn, countries really just be deporting Jewish people, huh? In 1917, Goldman and Alexander Berkman, okay, were sentenced to 2 years in jail for conspiring to induce persons not to register for the newly instated draft. After their release from prison, they were arrested along with 248 others in the so-called Palmer raids during the first Red Scare and deported to Russia in December 1919. Initially supportive of that country's October Revolution that brought the Bolsheviks to power, Goldman changed her opinion in the wake of the Kronstadt Rebellion. She denounced the Soviet Union for violent repression of independent voices. Wow! Raiders! Manu, thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody. This is Mario Kart Wii. You caught me in the middle of reading about Emma Goldman. What's up? Welcome to chat, everybody. Thank you for the follow. Boss Boy 29 and Jawline Jim. Thank you so much for the follow. Glad to have you guys here. Hope you're doing good. Good. I am. I've been tired the past couple of days, but, you know, today I tried to pull up my big boy britches and stream, and, you know, Mario Kart's going good. Hope your stream went okay. Oh. Okay. Where? Okay. Might not have been the smartest decision. I'm a lone me mock bike in a sea of flame runners. A lone mock bike, for that matter. I don't see any daisies in this. Get me up there, dude. Is this a smart decision? Probably not, but I'm making it work. Alright, you go ahead of me, dude. I don't want to take a blue shell. Dude, everybody's running up my tail here. One mushroom. It's better than nothing. Okay! That was a pretty close call. I have a bomb and I'm not afraid to use it. Ugh! Get me up there, dude! Based me player? Thank you. And I got second. Holy shit. What a race. I didn't want to play Funky Kong because I feel like A, that's overdone, and B, it's like it's actually kind of harder on custom tracks. This could be an outdated assumption, but usually I go into CTGP assuming that Mach Bike is generally a better fit for custom tracks than Flame Runner, because the turns tend to be a little bit tighter. So, and I also didn't want to just play Daisy on Mach Bike. I want to do something a little bit unique. So I played as the Mii character, and like there's other people that play Mii Mach Bike online, and that's cool of them. I just didn't want to do the typical like Funky Kong or Daisy thing, because I actually don't think it matters that much online to do that. One green shell. Apparently she was the most dangerous woman in America. That's actually based as fuck. How did I avoid getting hit by that guy? Wacky. Love anarchism. Very cool. Anarchists also... well then. Getting BTFO'd by a fucking ice cream guy over here. People who call themselves anarchists tend to be like a little bit of a safer bet in terms of like political action and also like coalition building and stuff, in my experience. So whenever somebody calls themselves an anarchist, I usually think they're pretty cool. And the like main concern there would be that I run into maybe somebody who is like an anarcho-capitalist or whatever, but they usually will call themselves ANCAPs or libertarians, which makes that very easy for me. Wow, that power really got people, huh? Okay. Somehow. Wow. Look at that line go up. Number go up. Any such case. Oh yeah, Flat Earth Dennis. You mentioned that that gay marriage was against the your country's constitution earlier, and that reminded me. Stonks. Yes, thank you. Very cool. Um, you were saying that like you mentioned that gay marriage is against the constitution in Lithuania, and that reminded me of a story that happened recently, but I didn't get to talk about on stream, probably just because I forgot about it. Yeah, unfortunately. Greece has become one of the first countries in Eastern Europe to legalize gay marriage. This happened just 5 days ago. This is from a French news article, so pardon me, I'm going to try to read French and then say it in English. The Greek parliament has adopted on the 15th of February, uh, by a large majority, a law authorizing marriage and adoption for same-sex couples. You know, just like that. There were protests leading up to this, but ultimately this was up to the Greek parliament in last week, and they put it to a vote. And even with like mostly right wing parties in the government, they voted, yeah, let's legalize gay marriage. So that's based. That they're very much not happy about being called Eastern European. Oh yeah, for sure. Greek people would not be happy that I said that. I know because I have Greek family, and they are not happy whenever people say that. But it is a fact of the matter that like they are geographically in the east of Europe, and there are certain political trends that hold up in Greece that are also found in other countries there. For example, the you know, much stronger undercurrents of nationalism and the prevalence of the Orthodox Church and things like that. And it's worth noting as well that Greece is actually the first majority Orthodox country to legalize gay marriage, which is really cool. And I think the prime minister was interviewed, was like asked about this, and he said that like they did this for having like Western aspirations, like, hey, we want to be part of the West, and that means adopting and normalizing gay marriage and stuff. But you know, whatever logic they used in adopting this law, I'm happy that it got passed. Even if the Orthodox Church was very upsetty spaghetti about it. And you know, a lot of Greek conservatives too, because you'll find that in no small quantity in Greece for sure. Even we're Northern European, not Eastern European, Lamau. Yeah, Lithuania, I don't know. It's kind of hard to put regional labels to countries because they have like geopolitical implications that don't necessarily line up with region. Like, you know, Norway and Finland are like, or I guess Finland is like pretty objectively speaking, if you look at a map, in the eastern parts of Europe, but we refer to it more as Northern European. Greeks have a long history of gay sex. Yeah, that's true. I actually posted to Twitter when I saw somebody talking about this. It is now legal to be Greek in Greece. You know, They have decided that gay sex is okay, actually, in accordance with the very long Greek tradition of uh, having gay sex. You see. I thought I had things really well lined up, but I guess the people behind me had mushrooms. Oh well. Not really anything I could do about that, I think. Are there any more details about this passage? Um, it just says that this reform that Greece adopted was not very popular with the right wing. There are a lot of right wing parties in Greece's government, but despite that, a large majority of parties still voted for it. I think the center right party mostly voted for it. Obviously, the left parties that exist there. You know, the church was really upset about it. There were protests against it. Um, uh, it doesn't seem like there's that much else. It's pretty cut and dry. Like, yeah, they adopted a law that says gay marriage is now legal, and gay adoption is now legal too. Um, I guess we'll see. We'll see what the fallout from this is. Usually, when something like this gets passed, the like reactionaries get pretty mad for a little while. That happened in America, I remember, in the wake of gay marriage being upheld as a constitutional thing by the courts. Um, like homophobia has been a pretty big issue, socially speaking, on the right. I mean, to a certain extent, it is in every country, but like there was sort of like an uptick in the focusing on that as an issue. But now they have to actually use more coded language because see the thing about legalizing, gay relations or whatever, it makes it normal. Or at least it encourages people to see it as normal. And when people start seeing it as normal, it's way harder to attack it on some sort of moralizing grounds because then you just look insane. Like what? I can't marry my longtime boyfriend or whatever. You end up just looking like the chud jack, like more and more. The longer gay marriage is legal and normalized, the more anybody arguing against it looks like an unserious chud jack that is used 4chan. And I think that's base. I did not know there were other routes here. Oh, that's a shortcut. Okay, I see. I'll remember that if I have mushrooms next lap. No! Ah, oh, that banana killed me. I'm probably gonna get dead last now. Alright. Maybe know where I want to use this golden. I'll just start using it here. Okay. If I get mushrooms here, I think I'm back in this. Okay, that's good. There's 6 players, so if there's anybody getting the shock, it'll be me, which means that nobody else has the shock right now. Okay, I'm gonna do... What the fuck? Is this only for... Ah, dang it. I think that's only for if you have, like, a Mega or a Star or a Bullet. That's unfortunate. Alright, give me this item. 3 mushrooms. Man, the items are not doing me many favors this race. I am catching up, though, somehow. Almost. Not quite, but almost. God, the fact that I made as many mistakes as I did and still almost caught up to the rest of the pack there. Oh well. That track is very wacky, and there's so many alternate routes, half of which are like slower. Uh, it's charming in its own right, but I don't know if it belongs in the pack still. You know? It's a very confusing track if you don't know it inside and out. And I thought I knew it inside and out, but I guess not. Yeah, it'd be like that. Keep getting a decently full room, so that's nice. At the very least. You know, I'll admit there are some ways in which I'm sort of bracing for impact, for things I've been doing outside of stream. I've been reading Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, right? Not because I am a capitalist, but because I disagree with that, and I want to know what the Bible of capitalism has to say about that stuff. Like, you know, people talk about the epic and base free market and stuff. I want to know it straight from the source, and especially because I don't trust anybody online to give me an accurate summary of Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. So far, it has been really badly written, but interesting nonetheless. It's a capitalist stream, goddammit. No! Not on my watch. Or something. Despite it being, like, not very well written, because it's like, from the 18th century, it has been very interesting. I described a little bit of that earlier, but I actually want to get into something that I think more people can relate to, just from the perspective of reading books, which is that, like, it's been made more bearable by the fact that most of the chapters were pretty short, like anywhere from 10 to 20 pages. Not super long, you know, short enough for... I don't know what's going on there. Short enough for me to, like, read in one sitting, you know? Like, I would sit down for however long and read 10 pages, and then, you know, that would be that. But I've actually now just finished the last short chapter that was like 20-ish pages long. And now I'm going to have to start reading a chapter that's like 40 pages. Which is going to suck. We have free healthcare, so my country is pretty much communist. True, as we all know from the man himself, Maxor. Socialism is when you get free healthcare, and when you have more free healthcare, the more socialist you are. And when everyone has free healthcare, that's communism. Yes. We all know this. I don't even remember what the next chapter was going to be about. Some I don't know, some obscure shit about, like, stocks. Like, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Like, a lot of the stuff, a lot of my notes on Adam Smith as it, like, goes on is just me being like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm trying so hard. Communism is when there's no food, silly. That's right. I forgot to consider that no food, no iPhone. Venezuela, 1 more billion deaths, of course. Aside from the fact that Adam Smith talks about corn a lot, which I do understand and can explain, he talks about stock. But when you and me and all the American people think of stock, we're thinking of, like, shares on the stock market. You go on Robinhood, you go on E-Trade or wherever, and you look for a company and you buy stock, right? It's this ethereal sort of thing that you could, like, theoretically, you have a piece of paper somewhere that says you own that much value, that much percentage of a company. But no, when Adam Smith talks about stock, he means it in the most literal sense. He means stocks of supplies, stocks of materiel, and, like, the actual cash that, like, a company has on hand, because in his day you could only have cash as a physical object, and, like, the machines, the equipment, the stuff that would be contained in a place of business, you know, which is a little bit, like, it's a little bit hard for me to engage with when I read that stuff. Because, like, companies don't usually deal in that anymore. That's not really how the economy really gets driven. It's not how, like, purchase and sale gets driven and stuff. You know? Like, when Adam Smith says stock, he means it like you would say a well-stocked pantry. You know, a pantry is stocked with stock. You put stuff, like you put food in the pantry, right? But nowadays, if we're talking about the economy and we're talking about stock, that means, like, shares in the company that don't necessarily even translate to any material anything, right? And that's actually one of the ways that I think that, like, you know, when I was reading Adam Smith, I was like, man, you know, a lot of this stuff seems like it's kind of out of date. Which, I mean, that also makes sense, because Adam Smith was writing in 1776. That's when, or like in the 1770s. You know, his book was published in 1776, the same year that the United States declared its independence from Great Britain, before it was even, like, functionally an independent country. Am I like corn almost as much as Khrushchev? Almost. That is a difficult feat to achieve. Yeah. Spoiled stock. Yes. I'll just go with yes. The stock went out of date. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could literally have, if you worked in the food industry, I guess you could literally have, like, spoiled stock. Wait, did I hit him? Pretty wacky concept, to be honest. Don't hit that. Hit me, goddammit. I kind of played fast and loose with the rules on that one. That was all down to that fuck up at the end. I had so much room to not get hit by the bullet bill, and I just drove straight and got hit by it anyway. That one's on me. But, Your Honor, I did it for the content, you see. And that's what's really important. After all, VR is just a number. Just like percent in Smash Bros. Just like fucking money in my bank account. In many people's bank accounts. Except that number determines whether or not you can buy groceries and shit. So that's why you did a genocide in Slovakia? I will invoke my Fifth Amendment rights on the grounds that anything I say might incriminate me in that matter. Thank you. I actually don't know what you mean, though. I'm like... I don't know about what the genocide in Slovakia is. Well, I made it. But was it worth it? I'll go with yes. Oh, it's an ethnic region in Lithuania, no genocide law. Okay, okay, I see. Then yes, I did do that, because it didn't happen. It's pretend. It was all a meme. Yes, that's true. It was, you see, it was for the content. That's what's important. I did it for the Vine. Very worth it? Yes. This is how I make all of my calculations. No!
I shouldn't follow people going down routes that I don't know. Revolutionary new information, of course. And now I'm driving like shit and I'm in last, but that's okay. I got the low trick. Oh, that's perfect. That's actually so good for me. Hitting that mushroom with the golden mushroom boost. Please don't hit me. Thank you. I think you want to do something like this, more or less. Yeah. Oh, I should have used the mushroom on the second thing as well. I thought I would be able to have enough, just enough juice to hit the third mushroom. Oh well. Get this item. Not what I wanted. I actually would have preferred a golden there. Also not what I want. Almost fell off there. I'm just gonna chain this. Not what I want to get at the very end. Man. Oh well. Okay, now I get a golden when it, like, basically doesn't matter. I have lost to Luigi. Many such cases. Russia could never invade my country. The roads are so shit, all their tanks would get stuck. That is actually kind of what happened in Ukraine as well. In the initial phases of the invasion, you know, Russian tanks get stuck in the mud. Literally stuck in the mud. You know, very real obstacle. Very true. We will open up the muddy quicksand pits and simply eat all of their tanks. The Ukraine war is so doom-inducing on a few different levels. I think Ukrainian forces had to pull out of some cities in the east recently, which is not good. It doesn't bode well for later. Anyways. Rip Avdiivka? Yeah, true. Dude, honestly, this has been the Ukraine war and the genocide in Gaza have been such fucking massive blunders from a foreign policy perspective on the US's part. Not even from, like, you could even detach yourself from the humanitarian perspective and only analyze it from the perspective of what is the optimal way for the United States to pursue its own geopolitical interests. And even then, the United States has fucked up so bad, right? Like, obviously, Ukraine being relatively secure is in the United States' interest, because that's one more, yeah, that's two genocides that the United States is, like, asleep at the wheel on, or in one case, like, actively supplying. Ukraine being a stable and a democratic country in Eastern Europe and a strong, like, ascending economic unit is good for America, and that's good for a lot of countries, in fact. You know, I don't want to quite get into the whole rising tide lifts all boats shtick, but generally it's better when countries do have the room to sort of economically develop than when they don't. Because in either way, you know, you're still in capitalism or whatever, it's like one just produces a better outcome than the other, right? But the United States has been cheaping out on the aid to Ukraine. I think the recent aid bill that was in Congress in the U.S. had just such a paltry amount for Ukraine, and it had so much for Israel. Israel has been nothing but, like, a detriment to American interests in the Middle East, because they've always been, like, super belligerent and starting shit with their neighbors and whatever, which has really been a thorn in the side of efforts that the United States might want to engage in to normalize relations with those countries, right? Like, Ukraine has been, like, a potential herald of stability in Eastern Europe, and Israel is a definite herald of instability in the Middle East. And the United States looked at that and said, we would rather support Israel than Ukraine, given the option, right? God. Because, like, if Israel wasn't doing its thing, right? If the United States took a much more firm-handed and, like, I would say more materialist, like, materially informed and whatever approach to Israel, being like, no, look, we give you the bulk of your funding for, like, defense and stuff. You have to, at the end of the day, you kind of have to do what we tell you to do. So we're going to tell you to do X, Y, and Z because this is in the interest of everybody in the region, including ourselves. You know, if the United States took more of that approach, then the the Middle East wouldn't be as turbulent as it is right now. Certainly things wouldn't be a whole lot better because it's still the United States at the wheel. But this would at least give the U.S. a chance to normalize relations with, like, Iraq, Iran, Jordan, and all those countries, and would give them a chance because the pressure from the United States is off a little bit, at least militarily speaking. It would give them a chance to normalize relations the other way. And then that means that, like, they can start economically developing, things are more stable. People grow more comfortable with the image of the United States in those countries, which leads to an advance of progressivism. And that, like, makes it more likely that countries that previously would have hated us maybe at some point in the future become more open, progressive, and democratic. Only one of the enemies is Browns, though, so of course they focus on them. Yeah, of course. You know? And then with Ukraine, the sooner the war gets finished, right? The sooner the war gets finished, the sooner Ukraine can resume wartime development, because war is, like, extremely destructive for civil infrastructure. That's, you know, that's the part that everybody knows about it. But then also that means the sooner the United States can actually start normalizing its relationship with Russia, right? One of the reasons that Russia is as economically, socially, and politically backwards as it is today is because of the economic turmoil they went through in the 1990s after the collapse of the Soviet Union and never really recovered from. You know, and like, without the war in Ukraine, there's a very real chance to fix that. You know, if only the U.S. would make the policy decision to fix that. I know, you know, crazy as it sounds, better things are possible. It's just down to, like, how stupid the United States wants to be. And I do mean, like, the United States specifically, because the U.S. is the global hegemon. We have, like, the most power out of any country in the world right now. There are some limits, but, you know, like, there's a lot that we can do, especially when we're talking about, like, normalizing diplomatic and economic relations with certain countries. I'll just check that. Probably gonna use this here. Here, yeah, you go to my left. Don't wanna squish you if I can avoid it. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh, that's cool. I like that. Now you can just do that, huh? Cool. Good job, guy. But you see, now I actually kind of want to be in first. Whoa, how'd that hit him? Oh my god, big news? What's the big news? Big news! Hidden banana? Kind of. Turkey is waking up? Were they asleep the whole time? God damn, that's crazy. 80 million people asleep. Turkey news? Turkish-Russian trade hit by fresh U.S. sanctions threat. Hmm. Or is that not what you meant? They won't buy oil from Russia anymore? Oh, well, that is big news. Hold on. That is pretty big news. Because that represents a pretty significant economic hit to Russia. You know? Oil and gas are like their main economic lifelines. I mean, that and arms sales, of course, but, you know. Energy especially. I got clickbaited, I think. Oh, excuse me. Did you? Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, okay. Alright, alright. Oh, yeah, wait, you can just go that way. That's kind of crazy, huh? Excuse me. Ow! They just stopped paying for it, lol. Oh, well, that's significant too, I think. Represents some potential tensions arising between Turkey and Russia, which had previously been on, like, decent enough terms. For 3 weeks now, they haven't paid anything for the oil from Russia. That's pretty significant, I would say. That might even be more base. You give oil and receive nothing. That's great. Yeah, imagine if Turkey just decided, oh, yeah, you know, we'll keep buying oil from you. Then they just don't pay for it. God, that would be funny. Ooh. Crack is quite the endeavor. There we go. Some of this. Ah, not quite. Apparently this is thanks to America? Really? Turkey not buying oil from Russia? See if I can find anything. That's from last year. Oh yeah, the sanction. Okay, so this is what I was looking at a little bit earlier. A U.S. threat to hit financial firms doing business with Russia with sanctions has chilled Turkish-Russian trade, disrupting or slowing some payments for both imported oil and Turkish exports, according to some sources familiar with the matter. The executive order passed last year didn't explicitly target energy, but it has complicated some Turkish payments for Russian crude oil, as well as Russian payments for Turkish exports. Okay. Basically, no more trade between them. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a little bit more complicated than, like, no more trade. But like the fact that it's slowing down their ability to pay for stuff back and forth is pretty big. Because like ultimately, you know, if trade is slowing down, that's effectively that much less money coming in, right? Especially, you know, if you're Russia and you want to get that money from that crude oil, that could potentially, you know, have negative consequences for the Russian war effort, which would be good, I think. But we'll have to see because it seems like this is still pretty recent. International trade stuff, you know, you have the like the decision proper or whatever, and then it takes like a couple of months or whatever to start actually seeing the consequences. Uh, yeah, I guess, you know, being hopeful might be warranted here, but, you know, I don't know what's going to happen yet. Right? Oh, I missed a miniature. But yeah, in basic terms, it does seem like there's, you know, functionally trade has kind of stopped, or will kind of stop, between Turkey and Russia for a little while, and you know, aside from the obvious, like, oh, they're trading oil and stuff, Turkey's also a really big trade partner with Russia, so, you know. Yeah. Mean. Let me change this. Bomb. Ow. You know, I could have thrown this bomb backwards at you, but I didn't. That was a very wacky sequence, and I can't believe I came out unscathed and in third place. Alright, I'm holding on to this red shell for dear life, because I don't know what people have behind me. Apparently the West is making rockets for North Korea? What? That's funny as fuck. Get that out of here. Hundreds of Western parts were found in a rocket that exploded in Ukraine. That's pretty typical. The trade is internationalized and globalized to such an extent that, like, you can't really not have, like, certain Western parts found in, like, even in military equipment that is being used by countries that don't like the West and stuff like that, you know? And, you know, businesses in the West also tend to be pretty, what's the term? Unscrupulous, there we go. With who they do business with, they don't really care all that much as long as it gets the money. Yeah, it's not all that surprising that there's, like, rocket parts in a Russian rocket that blew up in Ukraine, that were made by Western manufacturers. You know, I'm sure that you could probably find a few Russian soldiers out there that carry a M1911 as a sidearm or something. And, you know, M1911s are American weapons. I hope my mic is actually picking things up okay. Is it? Volume's all the way up for me. USA and their guns, lol. Yeah, the United States does a lot of gun-related things. you know, obviously America has some pretty deep-seated problems with gun culture, but also just because America's like a global hegemon. We do a lot of arms sales and stuff like that. And we especially did a lot of that in the 20th century during the Cold War. What is Rogue doing? Cool, I guess. 3 mushrooms? Oh, no. Oh. Okay, well. Huh. Ah. Nice timing on throwing that red shell. This will be the last race of the stream, by the way, and then I'll see if somebody else is live. Namely, Cody Schwab. Because I have a special fun surprise for Cody since he won Genesis. I made a image that I think would be a great emote. Please get hit. No. Oh well. Rip. That was a good stream. Despite me racing like shit for most of it. I think that was good. Alright. Is Cody Schwab live? The big question. No, he's not live. Grr. Dang. At least it doesn't look like it. Who is live, though? Joey, Shark, B. Armada, Mewtwo. Who do I raid? I wonder. Old Divers 2. I don't know. You know what? I think I recognize some of you guys from earlier from like Super Smash Bros. Chats. I'm gonna send you over to Mewtwo King because he's playing Super Smash Bros. Right. I think you guys would like that. Yay. Follower sub only chat. That's lame. But hopefully you will enjoy the content anyway. I should be back tomorrow, but with like a shorter stream. We'll see. Bye.